This is In Case You Missed It, your national agriculture news recap for the week ending June 5th, 2026. Canadian agriculture and food trade groups joined their American and Mexican counterparts to urge their governments to renew the CUSMA trade deal. More than 160 groups from the three countries signed a letter to their trade representatives. In the letter, they said CUSMA has benefited all three countries, has removed trade obstacles, and increased regulatory transparency. Without it, they said North America is more vulnerable to restrictive trade policies from other countries. This week, the U.S. government proposed a new tariff of between 10 and 12.5% on 60 of its trade partners, including Canada. It cited concerns that those countries hadn't done enough to curb the flow of goods made with forced labor. The move suggests the Trump administration is looking to solidify its tariff regime, said Tyler McCann. McCann is managing director of the Canadian Agri-Food Policy Institute. CUSMA-compliant goods look to be exempt from those tariffs, which would include most farm goods. That's a glimmer of hope, McCann said. Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc is in Washington this week, and while trade talks will likely be behind closed doors, McCann says he hopes the meetings are a sign Canada is seriously engaged in negotiations ahead of the CUSMA review. It takes about 11.4 years and $307 million to get a pesticide to market in Canada. That's an improvement, according to a new study put out by CropLife International. From 2014 to 2019, it took on average 12.3 years to get a new active ingredient to market. CropLife said it's good to see progress, but the amount of time and money required risks delayed innovation and halted progress. The study surveyed major crop science companies and similar surveys dating back to the 90s. It found that between 2019 and 2023, expenditures on conventional chemical research and development had declined by more than 9%. However, major firms are dedicating more money to developing biological products. CropLife Canada has routinely pointed out the problems with excessive regulations. Last July, Prime Minister Mark Carney instructed his ministers to find ways to cut red tape. The federal government now has a red tape reduction office. A case of New World screwworm was confirmed in Texas on Wednesday. U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins said on Thursday that the USDA believes it can contain the case and that they don't believe it will be an infestation. The USDA said it had halted movement of any animals in a 20-kilometer radius around the detection site. The flesh-eating parasite was found in a 3-week-old calf. It's the first case in the state since 1966. Washington has kept its border closed to Mexican cattle imports for more than a year in an effort to prevent the parasite from entering its borders. Mexico has had more than 27,000 cases since late 2024. Feeder cattle futures rose sharply on Thursday. It's feared that screwworm would further shrink the U.S. cattle herd, which is at its lowest level in 75 years. Tight supplies have already reduced beef production and driven cattle prices to record highs. In case you missed these and other stories from across the Glacier Farm Media Network, visit AgCanada.com or download the AgCanada app.